What's up, farm hands? Jason, Kushington Farms here. Thought I'd do a little something different today. Got a different camcorder or recorder that I'm using. Hopefully I'll have a few less problems with this. Not much that you guys know about, but on a personal side, these videos have been a pain in my butt sometimes. So we're trying a new camera. Anyway, just been chilling out today. I'll be in the garden tomorrow. I promise you this is the last video from my kitchen until I'm in the garden again. So I will be in the garden tomorrow for you guys. So until then, we're just going to do some news today. I found something that upset me because basically we got corporations wiggling their way into the Nevada industry, and it's just another way that the small people are going to get pushed out. The article I found is Nevada planned medical marijuana program called discriminatory. Basically, the new proposed rules for Nevada's already existing medical marijuana program would discriminate against the poor and the minorities. It would make marijuana too expensive for patients who need it. Ed Vogel from the Las Vegas Reverend Jew said this is going to be a disaster. Only wealthy patients will be able to get grow licenses and dispensary licenses for medical marijuana because of the new rule that requires people to have access to at least $250,000 before they can get a license. Yeah, that's right. If you want to get a license to be a grower or open a dispensary in Nevada, you need $250,000 just to start. There's little most people can do. The fear is that the veterans and the other disabled people won't be able to get their meds because the millionaire corporations and people don't care about them. And they're the only ones that have access to $250,000. I mean, that's access to. You can't be valued at and say, oh, my house is worth this much. Now, you have to be able to get $250,000. It's Senate Bill 374, which requires those applying for medical marijuana cultivation and dispensary licenses to have $250,000. And part of the cost of this bill, Senator Trick Seegerbloom, Democrat from Las Vegas, said he put in language allowing authorized MMJ patients to grow up to 12 plants, but he said the grow your own language could be removed. We can keep the home grow in case prices become an issue so we can address it in the 2015 legislation. So basically they'll let you do it until they figure out a way and how much money it's actually going to bring in before they take it away from you and screw you out of it. Cost is a concern, they said, and they hope that some dispensaries will make exceptions for poor people having reduced prices. Now, where in any industry in the world, or at least in the United States, I should say, can you go, oh, I'm poor, can I have a discount? And they'll be like, oh, sure, here you go. Not going to happen. That's ridiculous and a joke. The bill, which allows state-licensed dispensaries and cultivation centers, was passed by Nevada's legislature because of many of the state's 4,000 card-holding medical marijuana patients weren't able to grow their own cannabis. In setting up the medical marijuana program back in 2011, the legislature allowed parents to grow their own, allowing 7 plants. During Tuesday's hearing, a participant in Arizona's medical marijuana program said that the typical dispensaries cost $1.7 million to set up. He said that 397 people have applied for dispensary licenses, and the typical application being 200 to 300 pages long. That's kind of ridiculous just to get a dispensary. 200 to 300 pages long that you have to fill out? Okay. Under Nevada law, the state must approve or reject all these applications within 90 days. The McDade-Williams has already presided over 3 days of hearings and tentative rules to put Nevada's dispensary law in effect by April 1st, 2014. Again, April 1st, 2014 seems to be doomsday for the average smoker, the average grower, the people that just want free weed, well, free reign to grow weed. It looks like April 1st, 2014 is when they're making a collective effort to shut all our freedom down. So there'll be more public hearings before regulations get to final approval. But besides the extra $250,000 requirement, there are other financial hurdles, including posting a $5,000 non-refundable deposit for filing an application. So not only do you have to fill out 200 to 300 pages, but you get to pay them $5,000 to do it. And you don't even get guaranteed approval. Growers and dispensaries have to get appropriate local zoning approval for their facilities. Regulations could result in medical marijuana prices as high as $400 an ounce. Somebody in Vegas, Debbie Gillespie of Las Vegas, testified there should be a discount program for veterans and senior citizens. She said all the rules will add to what patients have to pay for cannabis. She also complained that Nevadans might be cut out of the program since applications will be filed from experienced growers and dispensary operations in states like Arizona, California, and Colorado. To keep medical cannabis affordable, we need to keep this stuff from happening. You need to call your senators on the local and state levels and your local congressmen and tell them to not do this kind of stuff and not put ridiculous sanctions and hurdles that people have to jump in order to get a dispensary or a grow license. $250,000 and a $5,000 application fee is ridiculous and goes well beyond what liquor licenses cost and what they need. So if they want to regulate it like liquor, then let's be real about it too. What's happening back here again with another story. Has to do with vaccinating children. I've seen a lot of people on Facebook lately talking about how CPS is going to take their kids away for not doing chemotherapy and radiation treatments for their kids. They'd rather put them on cannabis, and they're still trying to step in and force parents to put their kids on radiation, even though it's been proven that the cannabis works. So I saw this idea here from people that don't want to vaccinate their children anymore. They have to, go through all the rigmarole, and they basically get the same kind of threats that other people get about keeping their children safe and CPS threats and all that stuff. So I found this cool little sheet that they make. I got this from "You want to vaccinate my child? No problem, just sign this form." And this form that they have, and I'm going to show it to you in a minute, is pretty cool. It's got a licensed physician and the risk factor and the vaccination, and then it goes through and basically just makes the doctors accountable for everything that they're doing. And not one doctor's been willing to sign this thing yet. So I'm hoping that if we can create something similar to this and try and get the parents with kids with cancer to get doctors to try and sign this, maybe we can get somewhere and get CPS off people's backs if their doctors won't sign saying that the radiation and chemotherapy is harmful and dangerous. So here's that form that I promised you, and I'll be back with another story in just 1 second, guys. What's up, Kushington Farms here. Just showing you this vaccination doctor release form, patient release form, whatever you want to call it. But it's something that's been brought up with children and doing chemo, and I thought this would serve for a good basis because they use it for vaccinations, but no doctor is willing to sign it. So I figured parents that were being forced to put their kids on chemotherapy and stuff might be able to use something similar to this to try and get their doctors to sign it. Maybe they can get out of the CPS and people taking their kids away for choosing not to give them chemotherapy. But it's pretty cool. I like the idea. I thought I'd share it, talking about the vaccinations, and like I said, kids with cancer and having to deal with the effects of chemotherapy, and parents that don't want to give their kids cancer and would rather give them the cannabis plant. Alright, this last story that I'm doing is brought to you from High Times. It's basically just something quick, but I thought I'd give you some good news today. Marijuana legislation continues to flourish across the United States. Recent statistics show that 40 states and the District of Columbia are in the throes of developing pro-pot legislation regarding the recreational and medicinal use of cannabis. According to the legal research forum Westlaw Next, the weed revolution is making some serious strides towards regulating pot in America. In addition to the 24 states, along with the District of Columbia, that have already made medical marijuana legal, 13 states have proposed legislation for the regulation of recreational pot, and 16 more are working to legalize it for medicinal purposes. Sadly, a handful of states, including New York, do not have legislation in the works for the regulation of marijuana or either medicinal or recreational uses, and Idaho also stands firm. Key points regarding the current state and proposed laws outlining recreational use. 13 states, including Colorado and Washington, have either legalized marijuana or are working towards legalizing it. New Mexico, Rhode Island, and West Virginia have all commissioned research to determine the effect legalization would have on their state. All legalization requires marijuana users to be 21 or older, so you kids out there know. Most legislation proposes the state Department of Revenue, Department of Taxation, or Liquor Control Board function as the governing hand. Maine has proposed a separate regulating body, Bureau of Marijuana Legislation, Licensing, and Enforcement, while Massachusetts wishes to establish the Cannabis Control Board. The taxation established control board proposed taxation ranges from 15 to 25%. Some experts say that the legalization efforts in Colorado and Washington state continue to bring this country closer ending marijuana prohibition. Over the past 4 years, marijuana has been a part of more than 4,850 pieces of state legislation. So that's a good thing. But until the federal government gets on board with these efforts, the subject of nationwide legalization will remain questionable. Which is not really a surprise, but it's good. It sounds like there's 40 states that are looking into it. The government's basically going to have to fold once all the states get on board like this. I mean, can they really just keep doing this when all the states have determined it to be legal and they're already going to let the states do their thing? So it sounds like the bad news is on April 1st, 2014, they're really going to make the push to find the ways of legislation to keep people out. But in the same respect, there's going to be over 40 states that are going to make it legal. So seems like the marijuana to beer and alcohol legislation is about to fall into place, but we're just going to be forced out of it. Sucks for us, but what can I say? Tomorrow is a new day. Tomorrow I will be in the farm, and until then, peace out.